chilly out here. I should turn this heat on. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to K6 Outdoors. This winter, I am heating my garage differently, and it's still with electric heat. Right above me here, I have a Mrcool DIY Minisplit. I installed this earlier this summer, mainly so I can get some air conditioning out here in the shop, so I can get projects done when it's miserably hot. Yeah, tell me about it. It's first world issues having air conditioning in your shop. But hey, tell you what, I've been able to get way more done this year than I normally would have, and things instantly become less difficult when I don't have sweat dripping down the top of my eyelids, and just everything instantly gets harder when it's hot out here. Now, over the last several winters, I've been using these King electric heaters to heat the garage. This is the Eco 2S Plus model. I have a lot of videos on this. I'll put some above here and some down below. This has been an extremely reliable heater, and right now it is hooked to an Ecobee over here on the wall, so I can control it from my phone and, manage this unit remotely. Excuse the mess in the garage, by the way. I got some work to do out here to organize some stuff. But this heater here has been the workhorse of keeping this garage warm all winter. I'm not going to go into extreme detail on what it is, but typically I keep this shop at 45 degrees at all times to keep everything out here from freezing. But when I come out here, I crank the heat up so I'm more comfortable. By doing that, I'm just trying to reduce the amount of, power it takes to heat this building. Now, I do have a solar array out back that I use to power my entire property. But in the winter months, I come a little negative on the amount that I produce versus what I use. Pulling from other parts of the year, which I overproduce, ultimately, I end up probably paying a total of $100 out of my pocket for the entire year of my electrical bill. But hey, I figured why not, in this situation, switch to something that is more energy efficient, to maybe, get rid of my electrical bill altogether, and I could repurpose some of that power into the house to run the electric heaters in the house, to reduce my gas bill. And not to say that the King electric heater isn't efficient. It is very efficient. It's just when it gets really cold out, it does use quite a bit of power just to produce that heat for the shop. That unit draws 7,500 watts of electricity on high, which is about 7.5 kilowatt hours for every hour it runs. Example, my house uses about 30 to 35 kilowatt hours of electricity a day in the summer when the AC is running. So in about 5 hours of use, this King electric heater will consume the same amount of power that my house does on a summer day, which is kind of crazy to think about it. Again, it's 7,500 watts of draw, and it's high mode. It does some things where it fluctuates between high and low, which is 5,000 watts and low. You get the idea. And so, Kyle, why does it matter how many watts that heater over there uses? Simply put, this Mrcool unit, maybe I should stop and say this. Mrcool did not sponsor this video. I picked up this unit at Costco. Costco has great deals on these things, and I couldn't help myself, okay? Back to the, power requirements conversation. This unit is 115 volts. It is protected by a 20 amp circuit, but if you look at the nameplate, which I'll pop on the screen here, it at maximum takes 14 amps to run the compressor outside. And if you do the math, volts times amps equals watts. At the absolute most this unit can pull is like 1,660 watts. And that's typically used when you're doing cooling. Heating is more efficient. And so why does that matter? So for easy math, let's just say 1,500 watts is what that uses. This thing is almost 80% more efficient than that unit is. This thing could basically not shut off all day long and still use just as much power as that King electric heater does in like 5 hours. So why doesn't everybody install a Minisplit in their garage? Mrcool, Mitsubishi, whatever it may be. Why doesn't everybody install one of these? Well, there's a few different reasons for that. Number one, it is a little bit more difficult to install and does typically carry a much higher cost. These DIY units, like the one up here on the wall, picking them up from places like Costco, You can get them for $1,500, $1,200, depending upon what you're doing. But typically, a DIYer could do this themselves. The electrical work you have to be careful of because you have to worry about your local and state code. If you're looking at getting a mini split from an actual HVAC provider, they're going to be much more expensive, in the $5,000 to $6,000 range even, And again, you get what you pay for. This Mrcool unit does have a 5-year and 7-year warranty on it. We're not going to bother that with this video, but the moral of the story is that initial cost is much higher. Now, this heater over here isn't free either, but it is much more affordable, and it's just tied into a singular wire, set of wires heading to the breaker box. And that brings up the second thing. This Mrcool unit has way more to install than this thing does. This thing literally hangs by 2 bolts on the wall and is plugged in. This guy over here has to run out the wall, and I have mine mounted over on the side wall over here to the condenser, which is where it pulls all of the heat from outside, which makes no sense to me. And I get it, but I don't get it. Pulls that inside to the line sets into this unit here, and then pulls the heat out and exhausts the, in the coil outside, exhausts the cold air outside. Still don't understand it. We did install one of these last winter over RMD Creations, Michael's Backyard Marina, or Michael in the Backyard. Check out his channels. We did install one of these over at his place last fall. He used it all last winter, was extremely happy with it. But we were testing it out when it was cold outside, and he was standing in front of the fan freezing. So it's crazy. That's all I can say. But the installation is much more involved with this unit, and that's something you need to be considerate of. The third thing that makes maybe a mini split not so much, for your situation is the closer it gets to 0 degrees outside, the less efficient these things get to be. And eventually, if it gets too cold, they stop producing heat. I haven't tested it yet, but they claim this Mrcool unit can work down to negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, it can heat down to negative 13 air temp. Wind chill doesn't affect objects. That's mostly what affects people. But it can heat down to negative 13 outside, which here in Iowa typically doesn't happen, but maybe 1 week a year. And if we get lucky, it doesn't happen all winter at all, but I can't really remember a winter recently where we haven't got away with one really cold spell. Likewise, over here, this guy doesn't care what the temperature outside is. It's just going to run more to maintain your temperature. It has a predetermined amount of heat rise it can get while coming in and out the front of the unit. But as long as you've got heat, I'm just going to rephrase this. But as long as you have power coming into this unit, it's going to produce heat. Doesn't matter. Now, is your shop insulated well enough for it to keep up? That's an entirely different can of worms, which we're not going to address in this video. But, that was the main reason I originally installed this one, is I didn't feel comfortable enough with the mini split being able to keep up. So, taking those things into consideration, is the mini split right for your shop and your application? If you're in the southern part of the United States, definitely. You're going to have heat, you're going to have cooling, and, you're going to enjoy your shop a lot more. If you get into Iowa and places north where you do get extreme cold, this may not be good enough to do it by itself, and you may need supplemental heat to maintain that temperature. And again, I'm specifically talking about a shop here, not talking about the house. But I do know, again, from Michael and his experience last winter, even when it got to negative degrees, he still kept his shop warm. And again, warm for his shop, mid 50s, low 60s, is way different than being in a house where you want it to be 70 degrees or 68, 69 degrees, whatever it may be. But keep that into consideration while looking at this. So my approach this winter is I'm going to use this thing as my primary source of heat. And if I have problems, I've got backup over here hanging on the wall. All I have to do is flip its breaker on and we are good to go. And ultimately, if it gets too cold and this thing doesn't produce heat, I can bail myself out of the situation. Because I've got all this stuff over here, I don't want it to freeze. That starts easier when it's not cold out. It's got its own plug, but it's better on everything when things stay warmer. I've got things like lithium batteries sitting in here and, a messy desktop that needs cleaned up, but we're going to pretend like you didn't see that. And what my hopes are by going the mini split route is I can heat and cool my shop all year long for what it would cost for me to heat it with that unit over there on the wall. And again, I have no problems with that King electric heater. Love it. Actually does a great job. And typically it runs $30 to $40 a month to keep this out here above freezing, depending upon the time of year. January can get really cold, and then it could spike up to maybe $100 to keep this warm. If you take the entire winter months and then divide it out, you get the math where it actually is pretty, honestly, in my opinion, affordable to keep this space conditioned and not deal with the headache of bringing everything inside. I will put a link right here above for videos based on this King Electric heater if you guys are interested in it. I do love it. I think it's a great unit to have. I've had it out here for several years now, and I've had zero issues with it. It's been super reliable, and it's kept it always warm out here. And it's always been able to heat the room up to a temperature that I feel is comfortable when I'm out here. We're going to be doing some more videos on this. I did not do an installation video on the Mrcool unit. Just sharing with you guys my thoughts for this upcoming winter, because it's starting to get cold. You know, we had our first freeze last night where it was 29 degrees. Killed some of the bugs, which is great, but that means that, well, winter's coming. Hey, if you guys like this video and want to see more content like this, I'd appreciate that if you guys would give me a thumbs up on the video. If you're not a part of the YouTube family, hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell next to it. It'll let you know when I send out videos like this here in the future. Just remember, being a subscriber of the channel doesn't cost you guys a dime. It just helps me build this family on YouTube, because as corny as it sounds, this channel does not exist without you guys. And I really do greatly appreciate all of you that do watch. It really makes me feel good that I'm helping others out, because that is the intent of this channel, is for myself to learn this stuff the hard way so you guys don't have to. And, you know, Lord knows that the cost of today's living isn't getting any cheaper. And if you can make your dollar spread just a little bit farther, it just makes things easier. I will also put links down below to some of the stuff from Amazon. Keep in mind they are affiliate links, so if you guys do use those links, I get a small bit of commission, but it does not change your buying experience one bit. I hope you guys enjoyed this short video of heating my shop, and maybe you got some value out of it. If you guys have any questions, put them down below in the comments. I love interacting with you all. Honestly, it's the best part is you know, getting to have these conversations with you all. Thanks again. Greatly appreciate you. Stay warm. And until next time, we'll see ya. All right. It's time to get some garden hoses and stuff inside. It's getting cold.